It's time to rank every single current primary logo in the East Coast Hockey League, a league that has teams that have names like Swamp Rabbits, Nailers. Two teams in the same league are called the Thunder. And then there's the most unique name that I've ever heard in sports history, Lions. But my personal favorite name is the Ghost Pirates. Really awesome name. There's actually some really awesome names in this league, some really awesome logos in this league. And of course, this is the league that's two leagues under the NHL, the National Hockey League. You have the NHL, and their farm teams are in the AHL, the American Hockey League. And then under that American Hockey League, you have the ECHL. And there's some really awesome, really awesome logos in this league. But there's also this, the Rapid City Rush. It looks like this logo was designed in a rush. It's not the best thing, and you're almost never going to rank high on my lists if you're just a letter. It's just the letter R. But, I mean, if you were a letter and you ranked high on my list, you'd have to be a pretty amazing letter, and this is just not something that makes the cut. And especially in a league with so many amazing logos, this one very easily sinks to the bottom. I just can't imagine you playing against this team and being like, oh, it's these guys. They look awful. No, I don't know. But yeah. Now, since this is the ECHL, and a lot of us may not be familiar with all the places, I also wanted to put a few maps on here for where these teams are located, especially since a lot of these teams are named after their state. And I can't think of a team that better represents the East Coast Hockey League name than a team from Rapid City, South Dakota. They're pretty far away from the East Coast. But yeah, I'll be showing you some maps throughout this just to kind of give you a view of where some of these teams are from. Again, you'll see a lot of these, especially near the end, are named after states. So where in their state are they? We'll find out. Anyway, getting on to the next logo. It's the Indy Fuel. Another one that's not amazing. It's just the name on there on a puck. A puck, right? With 3 stars. Like, there's more to Fuel than that. I guess the Fuel letters are kind of shaped maybe like a flame a bit, but I feel like they could just do so much more than this. And of course, Indy being Indianapolis, Indiana. 26, we have the Fort Wayne Comets. This kind of looks to me like a maybe a paper towel brand or something like that, a logo for a paper towel brand. Like, it's not a bad looking logo, but it just doesn't seem to fit a hockey team that much in my eyes. It seems to scream more household product brand. You know, that's kind of what I get from it. So Fort Wayne, of course, also in Indiana. And Indiana, I don't think there's any other Indiana teams in this league. So we've already gotten Indiana completely out of this. And so, yeah, Indiana. Actually, I don't know if they should change this logo or not. It's not that bad. But again, you probably could do a lot better with the name Comets than just this, right? And actually, they've got a pretty nice secondary logo. That might be better as their primary. I don't know, but that's just me. 25, I have the Cincinnati Cyclones. Another one that's just a letter. At least there's some kind of design there, but even the design I don't think is that amazing inside of the C. So again, they're down here at number 25. Cincinnati, of course, is Cincinnati, Ohio. Number 24, we have the Jacksonville Icemen. And this one, props for not being just a letter or just the name. Props for actually having something there as a logo. But an Iceman is, again, not maybe the most exciting thing. So he's down here at number 24. And of course, Icemen in Jacksonville, it seems a little weird, but I guess, you know, they are playing ice hockey, so I guess they are Icemen. But that guy's got a pretty big jacket for being even playing ice hockey in Jacksonville, Florida. 23, I have the Tulsa Oilers, just a big behemoth of a man there, and looks like he could pummel, pile drive, just completely wipe out. Well, I don't know. He looks pretty strong. I'll just leave it at that. He looks pretty strong. He's an Oiler. He's got the big rig muscles and all that stuff, I'm sure, unless he's just a giant head, which actually, That's all I'm seeing right now. But but anyway, Tulsa Oilers, it's a good logo. It's not something that stands out when you get deeper into these logos. So I would classify this as, yeah, a good logo. Like we're at a big difference between this even and the Icemen. Like I think this is way better than the Icemen. And so we're starting to get into some pretty good logos. And of course, Tulsa is Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now at number 21, we have me. We have me. Maine Mariners. ME, of course, being the way to abbreviate the state of Maine. And, of course, used in a trident fashion. And so, yeah, kind of just letters, but a lot better way of using the letters than the Rush did, for sure. Of course, Maine is... Oh, I shouldn't say of course, actually. Portland. The state is called Maine, but Portland, Maine. So these are guys that replaced the Portland Pirates, I believe. Although the Portland Pirates were an AHL team. Maybe they were also in the ECHL. I'm not totally sure on that. But yeah, Portland, Maine, they used to have the Portland Pirates, but now they're the Mariners, which actually is also pretty cool. So either way, I think it's kind of cool. You could also maybe call them the Maine Poseidons, basically. That would be interesting. I don't know. Is that a weird name? Actually, it kind of is, isn't it? Because Poseidon should be singular. But anyway, Allen Americans. This is decent. Actually, it's pretty well executed. Now, I'm not big on kind of like American logos in general, like patriotic kind of logos. Like, for instance, the Columbus Blue Jackets logo, I really don't like. I think this is better. And so I like it. I kind of like the 3D A into the star. It's kind of, it almost is reminiscent of the Houston Astros in kind of a way. But yeah, so there's that. But it kind of also looks a bit like a soccer type logo, apart from, you know, there being a puck on there. But it looks very soccer-like. But I don't know. I think it's well designed. I think it's good enough to be up here at 21. And of course, this is Allen, Texas, which is somewhat nearby Dallas, Texas. At number 20, we have the Reading Royals. Good logo, but it could be better, and I think there could be more prominence on the facial features. I think when you have the outline in black, but then the middle is all just purple, it kind of like doesn't stick out as much, like the Fierce Lion. And also the Fierce Lion is not maybe the best looking lion in the world either. It probably could have been a little bit better designed anyway, but still, not a bad thing. And of course, King of the Jungle, right? Reading Royals. This is Reading, Pennsylvania, by the way. Reading, Pennsylvania. Kalamazoo Wings. I really like this one. And again, this is just a K, and then it just says Wings. But I just love the design of that K. I think it's cool how the wing design is. And, you know, it's not going to get too high on the list, but it's definitely higher than some others. So, yeah, it's just the letter, but it's a lot better than the Rush. That's for sure. And Kalamazoo, of course, being Kalamazoo, Michigan. Now, next is the Toledo Walleye, and I like this logo, but there's something in me that doesn't want to rank it that highly because it's very cartoony, and so it's good, but it's still kind of maybe a little bit too much for me. But yeah, it's a good design. It's a well-designed logo, and of course, yeah, like the Walleye, they get it right. It's cool, but it's just not for me. So that's where I have the Walleye, the Toledo, Ohio Walleye. Idaho Steelheads. Here's the Idaho team. And I like the realistic kind of fish. Again, it's not that exciting, but I like it better than the cartoony fish. I don't know. It just seems, in my eyes, it just seems better. Maybe more classy. And yeah, the text in front of it is not bad either. So that's what I have for number 17. And they are located in Boise. So they are the Boise, Idaho team. I mean, where else in Idaho would they have a hockey team at this level, right? But yeah, Boise, that's where it is. I have the Kansas City Mavericks at number 16. And this is the one that I'm not totally sure if this is technically their primary logo anymore, because they have another one that just says the letters KC, and then underneath it says Mavericks. But this is the one they had on sportslogos.net. So I went with this one. So it might not technically be their current logo, but if they did go with their current logo, that one would actually be dead last. It's pretty bad. So I don't know. Again, I don't know if that is their current logo, if they're still calling this horse their current logo. But anyway, this is definitely the better logo of them. And so it ranks here at number 16. And this is, of course, not Kansas City, Kansas. This is actually Independence, Missouri. But I think it's basically a suburb. I'm not 100% sure if it's technically a suburb of Kansas City, Missouri, but it's basically right there. So, yeah. 15, I have the Norfolk Admirals. And I don't know if this is maybe a hot take for it being this high, because it's maybe not the most exciting thing, but I really love this kind of nautical design. I love the ropes going around the circle. I think that's a really nice touch, and I just think it looks really clean, and I love that middle part with the anchor and the stars. It's not too much. It uses its colors right, and I think it's just really awesome. That's my take. Norfolk in Virginia. I almost said West Virginia, but no. Norfolk, Virginia is this Admirals team. And they were part of the AHL as well at some point. A lot of these teams were part of different leagues at some point. So, yeah, it's interesting sometimes how they alternate between AHL and then, oh, no, now they're in the ECHL. Oh, no, now they're in the, I don't know, USHL. But anyway. Wichita Thunder I have at 14. Nice touch on the Thor's hammer. This is the first, I believe it's Thor's hammer. Like, why would that not be Mjolnir if it was called the Thunder? But anyway, this is one of the two teams called Thunder. I still can't believe there's two teams called the Thunder in this league. But again, it's probably something to do with how those teams moved around, and they just ended up in the same league, and didn't want to change their name. Wichita, Kansas. That is the Kansas team for this league. 13, I have the Utah Grizzlies. This guy is freaky looking. He's so freaky looking. Oh, man. Like, this is one of the freakiest looking logos I've seen in my days. When you actually get a close look at this guy's face, it's like, whoa, he's just, I don't know. He's not just upset. Like, it's just like there's something wrong with him. He is, like, crazed. He is ready to, like, I don't know, break a hockey stick, right? And Utah Grizzlies, they are in West Valley City, Utah, but that's just a suburb of Salt Lake City. So just picture them. Yes, they're from Salt Lake City, Utah. 12, I have the Worcester Railers. I had to say that right because I used to say this was Worcester, but it's not Worcester, apparently. It's Worcester Railers. Worcester. It still sounds weird to me saying this. Pretty good logo. The HC for, like, hockey club, when the hockey sticks at the bottom, I don't know, that kind of feels really out of place. So I would take that away. And then maybe add something in, because if you just took it away, it would be kind of bland at the bottom. So put something else in there, something to do with, you know, I guess the railroad or something like that, I guess. And then you have a really, really awesome logo. Also, the W on here reminds me of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So that's just another thing that I had to say about this. So this is Worcester, Maine, and I hope I'm saying that right, because, again, I am not used to saying anything near that. Worcester? It just sounds so weird when I've been seeing what this name is my whole life since I don't know, looked at AHL teams or whatever back in the day, and I'm just always saying Worcester. But yeah, again, apparently that's not right. 11, I have the South Carolina Stingrays. A really cool designed logo. I don't know if they're trying to do this, but the down arrow that is the tail, maybe that means south. I don't know. But yeah, the Stingrays, pretty cool logo overall. And they are from North Charleston, South Carolina. That is where they are from. Top 10, Newfoundland Growlers. This guy actually reminds me of the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. I think it's the dad on there. I don't know if he's actually the dad, but he's the guy with the big eyebrows that cover his eyes for, like, almost the entire movie. That's kind of what this reminds me of. But I love it. I think it looks awesome. And it's really cool to see a Newfoundland team as well. They're from St. John's, Newfoundland, and they're, like, as East Coast as it gets. Like, they're the furthest east out of, like, anybody in, like, basically any North American sports league. So yeah, I don't think you can get more east than that. I don't even know if you can get more east than that in North America. Um, it's possible that there's something higher up there that goes more east. Actually, there quite quite possibly could be. Um, but yeah, still awesome that they have a team and lots of travel to get there. But I mean, it's also lots of travel to get to Idaho from most of these other teams as well. So yeah, cool to see them have a team. Love the Growlers, and again, a great logo. Number 9, I have the Adirondack Thunder, and I basically like anything that's kind of like Viking like or anything like that. So I think this is cool immediately. I don't know if this is Thor. It probably is, again, because thunder, but yeah, I just think it's super cool. So I'm all good with that. And Adirondack being in Glens Falls, New York. So I believe Adirondack is the name of the mountain range. I believe that's what that is. And so the city, or I guess it's, I don't know if it's a city or a town. Probably a city, probably. But it's Glen Falls or Glens Falls, New York, right? It's not too far from Albany, at least. But yeah. 8, we have the team, the Swamp Rabbits, the name that everybody loves, which I do too. I think it's great. I think it's so awesome. And logo is pretty good too. Like, I mean, obviously he's a bunny, but it's cool how he's holding his stick and it turns into a carrot. I think that's a cool touch. And I don't know, even like the little things like the R turning into a hockey stick at the very bottom, even that in the text is kind of cool. So yeah, Swamp Rabbits, pretty awesome logo. Greenville Swamp Rabbits. So Greenville, South Carolina, which is actually very close to Charlotte. 7, I have the Florida Everblades. This is just a crazy nice logo, and I just love it. I'm not sure exactly what the thing on his snout is. I believe it's like skate laces, because instead of Everglades, they're calling it the Everblades, and so I'm assuming that the blades are kind of like supposed to be his teeth, but it's also being played at as skates. I think that's what they're going for. Again, I'm not totally sure, but that's kind of what I'm seeing here. But again, awesome logo.
Alligator.
It looks pretty vicious, and yeah, love it. And they're in Estero, Florida. So I was thinking, like, Orlando has a team. Where is the Florida Everblades then if they're not in Orlando? So they're in Estero, and also Jacksonville had a team too. So I was kind of thinking, where are these guys? They're in Estero, which is, it looks at least like it's right between Tampa and Miami, kind of in that area between those two cities. But yeah, Florida Everblades, great logo. 6, I have the Atlanta Gladiators, just awesome. This is just so cool, and a lot of people try and do soldier type, Roman type, I don't know, swords and sandals type warrior logos, and I don't think they do it that well usually. Like, I'm thinking Vegas Golden Knights, for one, it's a good enough logo, but I think it's pretty overrated by a lot of people, and I think that it looks a lot like a college logo. This, I don't know, this might look like a college logo too, but I love this. I think it looks amazing, and I think they did a really good job. The colors especially look really good, and yeah, just a ripped gladiator ready to fight. I think this is such a cool logo, so I'm all for it. I'm all for this. Now we're gonna get into, oh, after I show you where Atlanta is, just kidding, it's in Duluth, Georgia, which I don't think is technically a suburb of Atlanta. I think it's a little bit too far away to be technically a suburb, but yeah, it's basically pretty close to Atlanta anyway. So there's that. But yeah, let's get into the top 5. Number 5, I have the Savannah Ghost Pirates. Love this guy. I think it's so cool. This is the newest team. They just started this past season, or I guess it's this current season. I think they're still, yeah, they're still in the regular season. Anyway, either way, they'd be in the regular season and the postseason, so it's still the same season. But this is their first season, and I just love how they introduced this. I love how they gave it a really cool, different name. I just think it's awesome. Ghost Pirates, like, who thinks of that? And one of the coolest things, too, is I got to put Ghost Pirates on a map. Putting Ghost Pirates on a map, that's just cool, no matter what it is. So, yeah, Savannah, Georgia, the Ghost Pirates are awesome. Number 4, I have this Iowa Heartlanders logo, and I just think this is amazing. This is one of the best deer logo I've seen. I really am not big on the bucks, like the Milwaukee Bucks logo. I think that just thing looks a little odd. And I just love this. I think this just looks clean, and it's, I don't know, maybe it is a little bit simple, but like I think it's just so nice. Like it's just a clean, nice, simple logo of a deer that doesn't look very, doesn't look that cartoonish or that like out of, out of whack or anything, and doesn't look that non-threatening either. He looks a little bit angry. He's got some points on his horns ready to fight, and I don't know, I think it's pretty awesome. And where in Iowa is this? It is in Coralville, which is apparently a suburb of Iowa City. So yeah. 3, I have the Orlando Solar Bears. Had to have these guys high up. The sunglasses on the bear alone make this an amazing, amazing logo. But also, just the colors of this whole logo are just really good too. I just think it's so colorful and so awesome. It just pops. Love the sun rings kind of that go up around the top there and arch over the bear. I just think this is an awesome logo. And they are located in Orlando. They're not just outside. They're not in this maybe suburb or whatever. They're in Orlando. So that's the Solar Bears. Now we get to the top 2. And at number 2, this is one of the best design things like I've ever seen. I love this. The Trois Rivières. Oh man, I butchered that, I think. Trois Rivières. But anyway, Lyon. So they're kind of between Montreal and in Quebec City. I was going to turn to the map and I was like, man, I just want to see this logo a little bit more because it just looks awesome. I love how kind of gothic it looks. It kind of reminds me somewhat of like the Phantom of the Opera, somewhat of like, in a way, not like in a cheesy cartoony way, but kind of like a Beauty and the Beast. And when I say Beauty and the Beast, I guess I'm not thinking of the live action one. I'm not thinking of the, what is it called? Just the original Disney one, I guess. But I'm thinking of like, I don't know if anyone's ever seen this because this is like one of the most obscure movies I've ever seen. But it's like called, I think it's something like La Dame Charlotte. And so Charlotte basically. And it's a French movie from Quebec. And like there's also this freakish looking beast on there. And it's like basically Beauty and the Beast in this dream sequence. And like, it's like, it reminds me of it so much. And so this logo just, it drives that like fierceness, but it also is well designed. It looks cool with the fleur-de-lis kind of design. And oh, it's, yeah, I love it. I just think it's so good. I think design wise, this is probably one of the best design things ever. And it just looks cool. Just looks cool. And again, like I said, Trois Rivières is just kind of between Montreal and Quebec City there in Quebec. So yeah. But at number 1, this is probably my second favorite logo in all of sports ever. And again, this is a personal list, so don't get, too offended by this or don't roast me too much, because again, this is personal opinion. This is what I love the most and I think is the absolute best in this league. And apart from the Florida Panthers Leaping Panther logo, like this is my favorite logo ever in sports. It is the Wheeling Nailers. I love this logo so much. It's so hockey, but it's hockey and you don't even have to put the hockey sticks in. It's just this unreal looking mask, 2 nails that cross behind it. And I would prefer it without, the Wheeling Nailers circle. I just put the Wheeling Nailers circle one because that was apparently their primary logo right now, according to sportslogos.net. So, yeah. But I love this. I think it looks fierce. I think it looks just absolutely awesome. And so that is by far my number 1 logo in the ECHL and number 2 all time for me. That's definitely it. And they are in Wheeling, West Virginia. It's kind of close to the Pittsburgh area, I believe. So that's where they're located. And yeah,